We're joined now by Portland Police Chief Bob Day. Chief Day, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
I want to start. It has been a big weekend here in Portland. A lot's been going on. So I want to start with what happened just over the last few days. What was your response to the judge's now second ruling, which was yesterday, to block National Guard troops from not only Oregon, but California, Texas, or anywhere in the U.S.?
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yesterday's ruling was, confirmation to the work that Portland Police Bureau has been doing in that area. I really appreciate the judge's ability to recognize that. I appreciate the good work of City Attorney's Office and others that provided that perspective. I've said several times now that we do not need the National Guard at this point to address the issues in South Waterfront, and confident that through the Police Bureau and our relationship, with federal law enforcement, that we can manage adequately. So that message came out, and I'm grateful for that.
So yesterday, following the second ruling from the judge blocking the deployment, Portland police arrested 2 more people. That was reported by your agency, marking 36 now by Portland police since the ICE protests began in June. Do you feel at this time that the situation does remain under control? I mean, you mentioned a little bit just now, but do you feel you have this under control with local law enforcement?
Well, term control means a lot of things in policing, so I don't know that I would ever suggest that things are ever totally under control, because there's so many things that are out of our control. But I do believe that as an agency and as a community, we are marshaling all available resources to try and address the challenges. And there are challenges down there. I would be naive or not really being accurate if I didn't recognize that we have had assaults down there. We have had conflict. We do see a variety of competing points of views, and that is leading to some challenges to mitigate. But as you mentioned, the Portland Police Bureau is engaged. We're conducting investigations. We're visible. We're present, and we're addressing it specifically to behavior and making sure that it can be safe for everybody.
Are you working with federal officers right now, as for the Police Bureau, working alongside with them? How is that going?
Yeah, once again, careful with our language about working with and working alongside. I've been clear in my relationship and outreach to federal law enforcement. I have good lines of communication, and I'm appreciative of their willingness and their openness. But we also need to recognize that there are some competing points of views about how best to show up in this space. And there are also very clear guidelines, both by the city and by the state, into where Portland Police can and cannot participate. And we are abiding by those rules and those laws. So yes, we're in communication with them. I would not suggest that we're working alongside of them, but we definitely are, trying to find a way to share this responsibility.
How are your officers feeling as this small block of Portland is now getting so much national attention?
I'm incredibly proud of the men and women of the Police Bureau. We ask so much of them on a daily basis. It's important to remember that the whole city is being challenged, right? We have 145 square miles and 650,000 roughly Portlanders that are deserving of the highest level of public safety service. And it is stretched on a good day, on a routine day, with the lack of staffing that we have experienced over the years. We are seeing some growth, but we are asking a lot. And situations like this really do compound that pressure. And I'm highly sensitive to the challenges that we're asking our officers and members to take on. And we're trying to find ways to promote wellness, trying to find ways to promote time off and space away. They need to be able to get a break. But I'm super encouraged how they continue to answer the call.
Do you worry that this national spotlight and difference in perspective from maybe the president or the federal government could actually inflame the situation that we're seeing around the ICE building?
Yeah, I mean, I think that worry has come to fruition. We're seeing that just in the last week and a half. I mean, relatively speaking, through the months of July and August and most of September, we did not have a high degree of activity down there. And once this started to receive the national attention it has received, as well as the influence of social media, has definitely risen tensions down there. So it's come to fruition. I'm not characterizing that as good or bad or right or wrong. It's just a reality of the world we live in. Believe me, I've learned more about the impact and the role of social media in the last week than I have in the last 10 years. So we're trying to to mitigate that to the best of our ability, but certainly the national attention has increased the difficulties down there.
Well, and on that note, we did see the arrest of a conservative influencer, Nick Sorter, late last week. And following that, we heard that the DOJ is now investigating into the Portland Police Bureau. Take a listen to what they had to say.
The Department of Justice spoke with that journalist this morning, and they will be launching a full investigation into his arrest. This incident is part of a troubling trend in Portland where left-wing mobs believe they get to decide who can visit and live in their city. It is not their city. It is the American people's city, and President Trump is going to restore that.
What is your response to this and this suggestion that police would be making partisan arrests in this case?
Yeah, the Portland Police Bureau is committed to the rule of law, and that applies equally, regardless of race, gender, economic status, political affiliation. We have to stay neutral in our approach to these challenges. And we have been criticized in the past, and 2020 is a great example where we were criticized for our approach towards the left and the activities that would be ascribed to those that are behaving on the left. And now we're being criticized for our approach to those that would be associated with the right. And the reality is that we're not paying attention to the left or right conversation. We're paying attention to behaviors, and we're paying attention to what the law allows. All of our arrests are based on probable cause. All of those arrests are evaluated by the district attorney's office. Charges may or may not be issued. We've seen this over the years, and this is not unusual. This is how the criminal justice system works. So to spotlight this particular moment in time as unique, my message to the organization and to the men and women of the Police Bureau is continue to do your job the way that you know how to do it, which is to follow the rule of law, make arrests based upon probable cause, and we will trust that the system will work its way out. There is no political bias in our decision making.
You mentioned 2020 protests, and during that time, of course, you had retired right before then, but it was a time that Portland faced much unrest and destruction, especially in the downtown area. How are you thinking back on that time and what you witnessed as you now take on this new challenge moving forward?
Well, we have to learn from history. So I'm fortunate that I have an excellent team that is guiding me and informing me on lessons learned and experiences from 2020. And that's important. But it's also important that we recognize the context today is totally different. There are so many unique characteristics to 2020 that don't exist today. The number one being the Portland Police Bureau is a learning organization that has matured over the last 5 years in a way that I would challenge really any police agency in America. And finally, I would say that we are more unified as a state and as a city and as a community than we were in 2020. Whereas the Police Bureau was very much isolated, many people withdrew, and now we're seeing really consistent messaging and alignment from the governor to the mayor to my office and others about wanting to find a peaceful and safe resolution.
We only have about 30 seconds left, but I want to ask you about the op-ed you made yesterday in the Oregonian. It was very heartfelt. You were talking about our city. Why did you want to do that? And what do you want people to know who live here in Portland and feel like, you know, they want to express their opinion or be involved in some way, or people elsewhere?
Well, I'm a believer in hope. I'm not an optimist, but I'm a hopeful person. And hope for me is actionable. It's moving forward. It requires us to focus on what we can control. I really like that phrase, you know, there's not about what life throws at us, it's about what we do with what life throws at us. And so rather than pointing fingers, rather than increasing the divide, I would really like to see Portlanders come together. And that means we all are going to have to compromise. This is not a yes or no, right or wrong binary conversation.
Portland Police Chief Bob Day, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Take care.